A father and his young son journey on foot in a post apocalyptic setting after an unspecified catastrophe occurred, so to speak. And on the way, they encounter demons. Demons in the face of rotten humanity or what's left of it, and to a certain degree in themselves. Demons, I mean. But mainly, this novel, The Road, in my not so humble opinion, is about a father's devotion to his son. That's the lens through which I saw it. Horror, yes, to some. Disturbing, yes, to all of us, I think. Welcome. This is Check That Book, as always, a special place where we get acquainted with the most disturbing books ever written. The Road by Cormac McCarthy is a really, really cool book in this specific genre of apocalyptic settings. If you're into that kind of thing, yeah, this is a very this is a thrilling read. Yeah, I wasn't really. I lost sleep over this book. I was feeling for our main characters, the father and the son, and what happens next? What will unravel next? Will they make it? Will they survive? Are the people they encountered in this chapter good or bad? Is the situation going to resolve? It's there is a very decent movie adaptation, which is, yes, it's hard to watch, but it's decent nevertheless. However, when it comes to books such as this one, I do believe that I'm not saying that the movie is worse. The movie is just a good adaptation, but um, books such as this let your imagination do all the work, and sometimes, actually more often than not, our imagination tends to be much worse than the one of a cinematographer, usually. If the concept itself doesn't seem that disturbing to you, well, let me tell you, there is a there is cannibalism involved. There is murder and consumption of fetuses, which is always a fun time. And yeah, this is survival here. And well, my a lot of video games nowadays are based on survival and stories such as this. So it's a kind of a familiar thing to all of you gamers, right? But yeah, it tends to get pretty gruesome and fucked up. But the story is so interesting, and you get to feel for the characters so much that, I mean, it does bother you, but if you are into the disturbing genre, then it's not going to be as bothersome. Um, you will be more engaged in the plot itself than nitpicking and focusing on the disturbing aspects of the book. This is a very sad story, actually. Not just so, I mean, disturbing, yeah, but it's more sad than disturbing. It's quite miserable, actually. It was on the list. I mean, Goodreads and Google provide, as always. And yeah, I remember reading it a while ago, but I never thought of it as disturbing per se until recently. A fellow of mine told me that he read this book and he was unfazed by it. I mean, different people are scared and offended and disturbed by different things, obviously. But I was intrigued because, well, how come you're not frustrated with this book? I mean, I remember it being quite miserable. It made me legitimately sad and depressed, even. Just darned, especially taking real world events to account these days. Yeah, anything might happen. And this book is one of the possible scenarios of what could happen. And knowing that humans are the worst species on planet Earth, yes, I will keep on saying that, because we people are the only species who kill for pleasure of their own accord. So, taking all that to account and human psychology, I speak like a true misanthrope, which I am misanthropically inclined, but more about that later, or never. So it made me intrigued. Why wasn't Hay disturbed? Because I do remember this being quite depressing. I read it again, and yes, I do understand why some people might not care for this book much. Usually it's because I don't want to say those people are ignorant, by no means. I would just say that no, they didn't misunderstand it. No, it's fiction writing. Of course, obviously. But what makes it disturbing other than, burnt and grilled fetuses? What makes it disturbing other than that is the fact that this is one of the possible scenarios of what might happen to us as human beings, as species. We might get wiped out just like this, and this is not a pretty scenario. Some people, like in this book, take the matter into their own hands to end things. I'm not going to say that word. YouTube doesn't like certain words. But no, it's no laughing matter. This is a book that is like, what would you do in this type of situation, right? And I do believe, and in my understanding, people who didn't like this book are either knowledgeable and too scared of the fact that this is, why not? It's a scenario. A bit over the top, but now that I think of it, really, is it? If we look at works such as Parasite or um, what was it, Sadness, The Sadness. If you look at works such as those, yeah, possible, I guess, but still over the top, at least in our current reality. But The Road, this is more probable than any other movie or book of this particular subgenre. So you follow this father and son couple, and you get emotionally involved with them, and the story it's emotionally shattering, all of it, especially when you dive deep into it and just let the book consume you. Yes, it's one of those. It's a strong read, not for everyone. You need to be in a happy place in order to read it, much like with almost all of the books on this channel. Um, with a few exceptions that, sometimes a disturbing book is just good for the shock value. Like I mentioned before in one of my previous videos, that sometimes you need a book such as this, like you might need an electric shock that will make you feel extra grateful for the good things that you have in life, right? Some people need to be shook like this. But sometimes you just need a good disturbing book that will provide food for thought. This one, in a weird way, has done just that. But it is a heartbreaking story that I regret reading the second time. I must admit, I didn't finish it the second time, albeit the ending to me provides some hope. Depends on how you look at it. But I just didn't. I've done myself a favor and I saved me some time by watching the movie. But I will not speak about it here because maybe sometime in the future we will compare book versus movie. What do you guys think about that? Disturbing book versus a disturbing movie. Would you be interested in those kind of comparisons? Let me know in the comments section down below. Once upon a time. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like disturbing content, consider giving this video a boost in the form of an erect thumb and a subscription, perhaps. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. I shall see you soon. Goodbye.